Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am.
Nino Brown Boxing, and I'm back in the building. Shout out to the LDBC. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. So we all know by this point today, right now, it is 10:20 Eastern Standard Time, 10:20 p.m. to be exact. And at this point, we all know that the Triple G Canelo rematch has officially been called off due to Canelo Alvarez withdrawing from the fight. Yes, he withdrew from the fight. Prior to the Nevada State Athletic Commission, making their decision that was supposed to be April the 18th. So we know the decision. Cool. So the question is, what's next? Everyone is wondering, well, what's next for Canelo? Will he be suspended? If so, for how long? Will he be fined? If so, how much? If they decide to choose the maximum suspension and the maximum possible fine, I know the maximum suspension I heard was like 2 years. How does this affect Golden Boy? A lot of people believe that if this happens, Golden Boy is pretty much done. I mean, based off of what I see, based off their numbers, based off of the number of fighters they have on their rosters, the top talents, the people that carry the weight, and the fighters that appear to bring in the most revenue, that being Canelo Alvarez. Yeah, it looked like they would be done. Shit, if you can't accrue a good percentage of that money back without Canelo, yeah, it looked like they would be done. But a lot of people wondering, like, well, what's next for Triple G? I'm happy for Triple G. I feel like justice has been served. I've been on Instagram looking at different boxing pages, checking out the comment sections. You still got the people like, man, it was just a teeny bit of clenbuterol. All you Triple G fans are such babies, this, and that. All that typical talk. Because for one, a lot of people that has an issue with the failed drug test, I'm sure, of course, a lot of them are Triple G fans. But there's plenty of people that prefer Canelo as a boxer over Triple G any day, and they still feel the same way. A lot of people just have a bad taste when it comes to anyone failing a drug test. It doesn't really matter who they are. But that part, it is what it is, man. Me personally, now when it comes to Triple G's next fight, me personally, I want him to fight Jamal Charlo. That's just, my opinion. I feel like Jamal Charlo is tough competition. He already beat Danny Jacobs, and I feel like him and Jamal Charlo, I put it like this. I want to see Triple G knock the fuck out. It's really that simple. I feel like there's a lot of hype around his name, and the thing about Triple G, the events about Triple G to put a bad taste in my mouth was the whole Andre Ward situation. Most of us know the story. If you don't, I'll summarize it real quick. A few years back, they said, Triple G in camp said that Triple G would knock out anybody from 154 to 175. And then they retracted that, and they said they'll knock out anyone from 154 to 168. Now, at the time, Andre Ward was at 168 pounds, but it was like they would fight Ward only at a catch weight of 164, but they would have fought Carl Froch at 168, and I believe they would have fought somebody else at 168. I can't remember who exactly. But, it was all that trash talk. Andre Ward moved up, and we all know the story. He beat Kovalev, so on and so on. That was the chain of events that pissed me off about the whole Triple G and his team. Now, at this point, the reason I say I want to see Triple G knocked out because I believe Triple G is a hype job. Now, does that mean Triple G doesn't have skill, he's not a great fighter? No, it doesn't mean that at all. To accomplish to have the level of accomplishment that Triple G has had in boxing, despite what we may think about his resume, at the end of the day, it still takes a talented fighter to do that. So definitely give him respect when it comes to that. But a lot of hype that surrounded him, a lot of the list that he was making, top 25 fighters in the past 25 years, and disrespecting a lot of the legends, that's the stuff I didn't like. Now, granted, I have to take into consideration it wasn't Triple G coming out and saying all this ridiculous shit. He, for majority of his career, he barely could even speak English. But the hype that is associated with him just left a bad taste in my mouth. And I feel when it comes to Billy Joe Saunders, Danny Jacobs, Jamal Charlo, and even Demetrius Andrade, I feel like Jamal Charlo would give us the most exciting fight. I feel like Jamal Charlo gives us the chance, to give us the highest possibility of Triple G being knocked the fuck out. It's that simple. You saw the Danny Jacobs fight. It was very good. It was competitive. I feel personally that Danny Jacobs edged it out, but he didn't get the decision. We already saw that fight. Billy Joe Saunders is currently injured, and we already know that fight's not going to take place May 5th. So that eliminates that. Yes, I would rather for Triple G and Billy Joe Saunders to unify to have an undisputed middleweight champion. I feel like that's extremely important in the sport, and the reason I would prefer that over the Jamal Charlo fight is simply for legacy. And on top of legacy, it would definitely put a lot of pressure on other champions in boxing to want to unify. Terrence Crawford did it, and if Triple G and Billy Joe Saunders, one of them were to do it, I think it would be a good thing for the sport. Now, we all know that the Billy Joe Saunders fight is not going to happen. We know he's not going to fight Demetrius Andrade. I seriously doubt he fights Jamal Charlo. And, we all know Jamal Charlo has a fight coming up. And ideally, it would be, I think it's like April 21st, something like that. April 20th, April 21st. That's a Saturday. That's the Adrian Broner, Gervonta Davis, Jamal Charlo card. Now, we all know that Jamal Charlo didn't want to be on Adrian Broner's undercard. We know if given the opportunity, and if he had given the opportunity to withdraw from this current fight to face Triple G, we all know that Jamal Charlo would be all over it. Now, Abel Sanchez has gone above and beyond to discredit Jamal Charlo, say he doesn't deserve it. What has he done? Nobody wants to see him. Talking all this bullshit that we all know that Abel Sanchez does not believe. Prime example, I can guarantee you, if Jamal Charlo, if this was 154 and Canelo and his team was saying that same stuff about Jamal Charlo, and people who had an interview and they would ask Abel Sanchez about the whole situation, I know for a fact that Abel Sanchez, he would be definitely singing a different tune. He would be putting Canelo and his team on blast, but we all know how Abel Sanchez rolls. And I mean, even though it sucks, it is what it is. It's to be expected. He's trying to protect his fighter, and it is what it is. But so the question is, like, who does he want to fight? I mean, it seems like Danny Jacobs is definitely a possibility. Now, I've been hearing some guy about the dude with the curly mustache, like Spike O'Sullivan. If that fight happens, yeah, I won't be tuning in. Nino Brown Boxing will not be one of the views that Triple G gets for that particular day. And if they decide to try to keep this shit a pay-per-view, they lost their damn mind. First of all, that's the first thing they need to address. Who are we going to fight? And if you don't plan on putting on some spectacular undercard or facing someone like a Jamal Charlo or Danny Jacobs, you need to just scrap the whole pay-per-view situation in its entirety. Now, if I'm not mistaken, if that happens, somebody got to put up some money because it's no longer a pay-per-view fight. And what is it right now? It's a night of April 2nd, April 3rd. I don't know. I think it's April 3rd. Yeah, it's April 3rd. The chances of all of that stuff being taken care of and organized, and they're delivering on that prior to May 5th, I really believe that's slim. So whatever details they decide to work out on that, me personally, I really don't care. I'm not paying for the pay-per-view. I wasn't going to pay for the Canelo Triple G pay-per-view anyway. If I was going to stream it or I go to a Buffalo Wild Wings, whatever, I'll go watch it, but I'm not putting that on my cable bill. But, I mean, we'll all see what happens. Now, the whole Canelo fell in the drug test situation and him withdrawing from it, at this point, I'm happy. Hopefully, I hope he gets suspended. I really do. Like, you have certain people saying that. Like, I read a comment on Instagram. I was talking to the guy, and he said, well, he agrees that there should be no drugs in boxing, and he understands all of that. We're on the same page. But he said that he feels like they should have to pay a fine, and that's that. And I was like, well, if you have a wealthy boxer, you're basically saying if your pockets are deep enough, you can pretty much pay to use performance-enhancing drugs to gain an upper hand on your opponent. And I was like, that's not a good look at all. Like, a suspension and a hefty fine should definitely go hand in hand. Honestly, it shouldn't be one or the other. They should definitely go together. Hit those pockets, but at the same time you hit those pockets, don't give them an opportunity to recoup that money within the next year or so. That's just how I feel about it. You guys, give me your take on it. A lot of people have been dropping their videos, giving their opinions on the matter. Once again, I'm happy, about the way things worked out. Hopefully they continue to go in this direction. At this point, Canelo already withdrew from the fight. It's not happening May 5th. So the Nevada State Athletic Commission might as well go and pretty much throw the hammer down, throw the book at Canelo, make an example out of him. They like to make an example out of people and different fighters. And I feel like Canelo shouldn't be an exception to the rules. Despite if you say it's trace amounts or whatever the case may be, if it's your responsibility as a fighter to put, not to put certain things in your body, especially when you have millions of dollars at your disposal to prevent stuff like that from happening. You got people that work 9 to 5, they make $40,000 a year, and if they fail a drug test, it's a wrap. It's no excuses. It's no, I didn't know, or this was in that. Like, unless you were gagged, gagged and hog-tied, and you had proof that someone forced you to consume that, but it's no getting off. If you fail, you fail. That's on you, and you face the consequences. It is what it is. But that's just my take on it, y'all. This Nino Brown Boxing. Shout out to the LDBC. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Peace.